This Health Ranger Report Pandemic Podcast is brought to you by NaturalNews.com for uncensored reporting and HealthRangerStore.com for lab-tested preparedness supplies such as storable food, full-face medical masks, biostructured silver first aid gel, and iodine, only while supplies last. It's Friday, April 3rd, Pandemic.News update. I've seen people making fun of other people for calling the coronavirus a hoax, and yet at the same time, those original people think the stock market has hit bottom and it's going to go back up in a month. Isn't like the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, if you're delusional about the stock market and you think this whole thing's going to be over in no time, you really have no standing to mock people who themselves have trouble believing what's real. I mean, the average American right now has no ability to grasp the economic reality of what has already happened and how long this is going to be devastating to jobs and real estate and the bond market and the stock market and even the dollar itself. Long term, the dollar will become worthless. There will be a fiat currency collapse. And hey, the average person hasn't even gotten close to getting their mind around that. So, there's all kinds of levels of delusions and fairy tales, and most people are still living in some number of them, different layers of delusions, even when they think that they're on top of it. It's people who watch mainstream media, even whether you're conservative or liberal or whatever. People watch Fox News, you're delusional. You watch CNN, you're delusional. You listen to NPR, you're totally delusional. Unless you're tuned in to really accurate, rational, independent media websites like mine, naturalnews.com, or pandemic.news, or other independent media publishers, unless you're getting your information from there, you are not living in reality. You are living in a delusional fairy tale. And people get their information from, official sources. Really? Like the WHO that's run by the communist Chinese? Or the CDC that still says don't wear masks? Or the White House that denied the existence of this thing for a month while it was spreading? People are so delusional, especially about their finances. And they say, I'm going to let my financial advisor, take care of the market situation. They've made me money all these years. I'm sure they'll do good now. And I say, is that the stock market advisor that didn't see any of this coming? When I did, and I told you that this was coming, and I advised you to sell your stocks before the big crash, but you listen to your financial advisor who just lost you 35% of your money. People have their trust and faith in all the wrong sources. They believe, the White House or the CDC, or they believe their doctor. The doctor doesn't know anything about nutrition for the most part. I mean, some of them do, but most of them do not. Or people watch CNBC and they think that's an accurate place to get, accurate information about the stock market. No, those are cheerleading fools. They're all perma bulls. They just want to cheerlead the stock market to go up and up and up. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. But you try to explain this to regular everyday people and they can't accept it because, they're morons. They're living in their delusional fairy tale bubbles, and it's just uncomfortable to step outside that bubble and not agree with the consensus. And that's the bottom line for most human beings. They just want to be part of the herd. And if that herd is running off a cliff and leaping to their deaths, then, it's better to be part of the herd than to be an outcast. You wouldn't want to be an outcast, people say to themselves as they're plunging at the acceleration of gravity off the cliff, along with the other herd members. It's just mass suicide, which I've got a great video on this, by the way. Humanity is a suicide cult. This video is up on Brighteon.com. You should check it out. It's really good. I guess you could be the judge. I think it's good. That's why I put it out there. I think it's insightful about what humanity has become and how it's really a death cult. Just infatuated with death all the time, like abortions, for example, and how the radical left is always celebrating abortions, and how all the top corporations are all about death, like the war industries and the pharmaceutical companies and the vaccine industries. It's about killing people and maiming children and hurting everyone and raking in billions of dollars in profit. I mean, the whole biological weapons industry, which is behind this coronavirus in the first place, is one of the wealthiest industries in the world. It's the death science industry, as Dr. Francis Boyle talks about. Death science, because it's a death cult. Humanity is a suicide cult. But people are clueless. And right now, the people online asking, why am I living in an apartment like a slave? Because you have a slave mentality. That's why. Why do I have no job and everything's been taken from me and I don't have any money? Why? Because you didn't save any money. Because you lived paycheck to paycheck. That was you that did that. The virus didn't make you live paycheck to paycheck. You did that. You didn't save any money. You took on too much debt. You bought a car you couldn't afford. You bought a house you couldn't afford. You live in an apartment that you can't afford. You spent money unwisely. And it's amazing how everybody in America now says, it's not my fault. The government should bail me out, they say. Everybody wants their government check now because nobody is an adult. Nobody's willing to take responsibility for the situation they're in. Look, I mean, I hate to, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything here, but I didn't lose a dime in the stock market. Not a dime, because I wasn't in it. I don't put money, I don't gamble with money in the stock market that's rigged. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. Why would I put my money in the stock market? I haven't had money in the stock market since 2008 because I knew this was coming. If you live life burdened with debt and highly leveraged speculative so-called investments into, stocks and bonds and all these things that are going to crater, then you shouldn't be surprised when you lose everything. It's called cause and effect. Why is anybody surprised? You bought, I don't know, some fund that borrows money to buy commercial mortgages, let's say, and then it pays you a monthly income on commercial mortgages. And the whole thing just went to zero. What happened? Well, commercial mortgages have collapsed. And of course, when they sold these instruments to you, they said, the commercial mortgage market will never collapse. It's the most, I mean, it couldn't happen in a billion years that it would collapse. But it just did. It's like a 50 sigma event or something that just took place, and it just wiped out a lot of people. But that's what happens when you gamble. Hey, you took the risk, you wanted the rewards. Guess what? You got to eat the losses. I play it safe. I'm Mr. Conservative when it comes to money and finance. I don't have any debt. I don't have any loans. I don't have any investors. That's why I stay small, but haven't been hurt at all by any of this because I don't have a mortgage. I don't pay rent. My company doesn't pay rent. We own everything, that we occupy. We own the land, we own the building, everything, free and clear, no banks. Why did I do business that way for 20 plus years? Because I knew this day was coming. So I don't need a bailout. And if more people had been conservative in their money, like I was, then fewer people would be panicked right now. Everybody should have money for a rainy day. Everybody should have a backup savings fund. This shouldn't be an alien idea. This shouldn't be just me saying this. It should be everyone. I mean, yeah, I didn't have any money when I was young and in college and everything. I was in debt at the time. I got out of debt as soon as I could after college. I worked and saved and paid off credit cards. I had like $20,000 in credit card debt by the time I graduated from college. It took me a couple years. I paid it off. And then a few years later, bought a house, had a mortgage, paid it off. I paid that mortgage off in like 3 years. It was a 30-year mortgage. Paid it off in 3 years or something like that. Why? Because I don't want to be a bank slave. And what do you know? It turns out it's pretty good to not have any debt when a collapse happens. You don't want the bank to come take your house, do you? To come repossess your car? No. Own your stuff. Own the roof over your head, folks. Don't be a wage slave living under a roof that somebody else owns. I mean, I guess now this point is obvious, but a year ago, everybody would have said, no, you should mortgage that, and you should leverage that, and you should invest that in these speculative gains, tech stocks, Uber and WeWork and all that garbage. I wouldn't buy an Uber stock if you paid me to buy an Uber stock because it's a joke. Got no profits, no assets. They got nothing. They're going to disappear. And WeWork is a total crap show anyway. But that's just my philosophy, okay? And the reason I'm sharing this with you is not to sound arrogant or anything, but just to say, you should use this philosophy because it's a better way to live. You're more free. You're less stressed out. There's less risk. Yeah, I don't live in a fancy super mansion. I don't drive a super fancy car. I don't wear luxury clothes. So what? Right now in Texas on my ranch, I've got more than every billionaire in New York City that's locked down in their apartment. They got billions of dollars. They don't have what I have. I've got rainwater. I've got, chickens and fresh chicken eggs. Not even billionaires have that right now. I've got freedom. They've got nothing. They've got a medical police state. Not good. Maybe they should have thought ahead. Money isn't everything, you know. A lot of things count for more than money. But that's just my philosophy. You can take it or leave it, obviously. But Mike Adams here, Health Ranger, pandemic.news. If you want to hear more, if you want to be preached at more, just hear my podcast at pandemic.news. I say this from a place of love. Seriously, I want you to do well. And sometimes you just got to tell people the way it is. All right? That's all I'm doing. Thanks for listening. When it comes to prepping, you not only need good products that can help keep you alive, awake, aware, and nourished during difficult times, you also need products you can trust. At the Health Ranger store, we do extensive laboratory testing using an in-house lab that's ISO accredited. It's inspected, it's audited. It's a 2-year process to even get that accreditation. We use multiple mass spec instruments, state-of-the-art science. I'm a published science author as well and a patent holder on several technologies, some of which we use variations of in our lab. The purpose of this lab is to help you make sure you get clean foods, superfoods, storable foods for emergency preparedness and survival use. We have a certified organic lab-tested, what's called Ranger Bucket collection of storable foods with some survival gear in the buckets to help you even boil water and cook those foods and so on. It's a fantastic product. We can barely keep it in stock even during normal times. In a crisis, we'll be wiped out of this product because it actually takes us a lot of time to make those products. But if they're in stock, you can get them now at healthrangerstore.com/prepwithmike. In fact, go to that URL, healthrangerstore.com/prepwithmike, and you'll see some of our survival and preparedness supplies, including iodine, colloidal silver products and gel first aid products, storable foods, superfoods, medicinal herbs for first aid, and much more. We have a lot of products for you to help you be self-reliant, to be safe, to survive difficult circumstances, natural disasters, and all kinds of things. If you want to get prepared, do it with us at the Health Ranger store so that you know you're getting safe, clean, laboratory-verified preparedness foods, supplements, and other related products. Again, the URL is healthrangerstore.com/prepwithmike. All one word, no spaces. Prep with Mike. I'm Mike Adams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.